Hello again, children. This is Miss Tracy, and I'm going to read to you a few short stories, little poems by some very famous people. I hope you enjoy them. The first one is called My Shadow, and that's by Robert Louis Stevenson. I have a little shadow that goes in and out with me, and what can be the use of him is more than I can see. He is very, very like me from the heels up to the head, and I see him jump before me when I jump into my bed. The funniest thing about him is the way he likes to grow, not at all like proper children, which is always very slow. For he sometimes shoots up taller like an India rubber ball, and he sometimes gets so little that there's none of him at all. He hasn't got a notion of how children ought to play, and can only make a fool of me in every sort of way. He stays so close beside me, he's a coward, you can see. I'd think shame to stick to Nursey, as that shadow sticks to me. One morning very early, before the sun was up, I rose and found the shiny dew on every buttercup. But my lazy little shadow, like an arrant sleepy head, had stayed at home behind me and was fast asleep in bed. Isn't that cute? And now there's another one called The Cupboard by Walter de la Mare. I know a little cupboard with a tiny, tiny key, and there's a jar of lollipops for me. It has a little shelf, my dear, as dark can be, and there's a dish of Banbury cakes for me. I have a small fat grandmamma with a very slippery knee, and she's keeper of the cupboard with the key. And when I'm very good, my dear, and good as good can be, there's Banbury cakes and lollipops for me. And there's the granny. It's so cute. I love those. Oh, and here's one by Robert Louis Stevenson, who was a very famous writer. It's called The Land of Counterpane. When I was sick and lay abed, I had 2 pillows at my head, and all my toys beside me lay to keep me happy all the day. And sometimes for an hour or so I watched my leaden soldiers go, with different uniforms and drills, among the bedclothes through the hills, and sometimes sent my ships in fleets, all up and down among the sheets, or brought my trees and houses out, and planted cities all about. I was the giant great and still, that sits upon the pillow hill, and sees before him dale and plain, the pleasant land of Counterpane. And that story is about when you are ill and you're lying in bed, and you don't feel very good. This little boy in particular, he lay there, and he just used his imagination, and that made the time pass until he got better. And here's another lovely one called Animal Crackers by Christopher Morley. Animal crackers and cocoa to drink, that is the finest of suppers, I think. When I'm grown up and can have what I please, I think I shall always insist upon these. What do you choose when you're offered a treat? When mother says, "What would you like best to eat?" Is it waffles and syrup or cinnamon toast? It's cocoa and animals that I love most. The kitchen's the coziest place that I know. The kettle is singing, the stove is aglow. And there in the twilight, how jolly to see the cocoa and animals waiting for me. Daddy and mother dine later in state, with Mary to cook for them, Susan to wait. But they don't have nearly as much fun as I, who eat in the kitchen with nurse standing by. And Daddy once said he would like to be me, having cocoa and animals once more for tea. I think that's awesome. Lovely. I love animal crackers, don't you? Let's read one more. Hoppity by A.A. Milne. Christopher Robin goes hoppity, 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 hop. Whenever I tell him politely to stop it, he says he can't possibly stop. If he stopped hopping, he couldn't go anywhere. Poor little Christopher couldn't go anywhere. That's why he always goes hoppity, 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 hop. And of course, Christopher Robin comes from Winnie the Pooh, the Winnie the Pooh series. Should we do one more? The Land of Storybooks. This is again by Robert Louis Stevenson. He wrote Robinson Crusoe, you know. We'll read that one day, okay? At evening when the lamp is lit, around the fire my parents sit. They sit at home and talk and sing, and do not play at anything. Now with my little gun I crawl, all in the dark along the wall, and follow around the forest track, away behind the sofa back. There in the night where none can spy, all in my hunter's camp I lie, and play at books that I have read, till it is time to go to bed. These are the hills, these are the woods, these are my starry solitudes, and there the river by whose brink the roaring lions come to drink. I see the others far away, as if in firelit camp they lay, and I, like to an Indian scout, around their party prowled about. So when my nurse comes in for me, home I return across the sea, and go to bed with backward looks at my dear land of storybooks. I think stories are wonderful, don't you? I love to listen to stories. When I was a little girl, that was my favorite time of the day, was when my mom or my dad would read me stories. So when you want to listen to a story, you just come here to Miss Tracy Reads on YouTube, and you choose the story you want to listen to, all right? There's short stories, long stories, and there'll be poems and funny things. And as I've said before, if you've got a story to tell me, then you can just send me an email at misstracyreads411@gmail.com, okay? And then we'll read it to all the other boys and girls. So for tonight or today, enjoy your time, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.